Bitcoin is hella bullish right now. Hella bullish. Socials are bullish, the price is bullish, everything is bullish, everybody is bullish. But it's a bit of a warning because Bitcoin is increasing in value with no significant pullbacks on the macro, and it's doing it at an alarming rate. So it's just a bit of a warning to myself, really. Let's have a look at the BLX chart. Let's also have a look at this chart here, Binance. Let's chart some macro stuff, some support and resistance lines, where it might be a good place to buy, where it might be a good place to sell, and just let's look at Bitcoin, really. Let's go. Here we have my BLX chart, Bitcoin Liquid Index on the weekly, and here it is. This green vertical line here is the start of the bull, and the red vertical is the end of the bull in relation to the previous cycles, and I've got that charted out here. Okay, if you follow my channel, you know this is what I like to chart. So let's try and compare where we are in this cycle in comparison to the previous cycles. I think I'm probably going to start there. So we're approximately 448 days, if my memory is correct. 448 days. Yep, there is 448 days into the cycle. So that's about 42% of this entire bull market. Yeah, 448 days, and that's where it ends. So, you know, we're 42% of the way there. So where were we in the previous cycles? What had we done in the previous cycles up until this point? So take note of our price. We are in the golden pocket area here. There's my 618 and there's the 065, and that's coming up at 49.7 and 47.9. So let's keep track of that. So here we are in the previous bull market. Let's measure where we are now and how it compares to the previous market. So that's 448 days. And what we was doing, we was well underneath our 50% and golden ratio. And this is about when COVID sort of kicked in, a black swan that kicked in and pushed us right down. We were nowhere near breaking out. In fact, we didn't break out until this vertical purple line here, and I believe that's about 770 odd days. Let me just double check that. Yeah, it's 735 days, okay, until we actually broke out and we closed above our previous bull market high up here. Okay, so the high was here, you can see it there, and we didn't break out until there. So it took over 700 days to get there. So that's the previous bull market. It's quite interesting that. Now we shot up quite high and we did hit the 618, but we did that relatively quickly in the previous cycle, and then we came all the way back down. But in comparison to where we are a lot higher in terms of the Fibonacci. When we have to back out our fibs, we were much higher than where we were in the previous market. Let's have a look at the previous bull market before that. So bull market of 2015, as you can see, 448 days. Let's do that. So from the bottom of the market, 448 days would make it around here. We hadn't even come to test the 50% level yet. We hadn't even come to test it yet. Not far off though, not far off, but we hadn't come to test it yet. And we didn't break out the purple horizontal vertical line here. That's when we finally did break out. Let's see how long it took us there. It took us 735 days until we broke out of our all-time high. So you can see it's quite similar here. 749 days, 735 days is when we finally broke out. So this is where we are currently right now. And if we take the earliest date, so let's say 735 days, let's measure where 735 days is. 735 days, I think I've got it there. Yep, I've got it on here on this horizontal line here, this vertical line, sorry, apologies. That takes us to like November of this year until we break out to all-time highs. But we've pushed up really high. So it's just, that's kind of my warning, because they often say, you know, time is more important than price. And if so, it's showing us some warning signs already. It doesn't need to do what it did before. It could easily push out of this and push to all new time highs, but we don't know what's going to happen on this side. You know, this is all space, and we're just trying to be detectives, warriors, all of that stuff, soldiers, and figure out what's going on as we battle this Bitcoin Titan and try and take chunks out of it. So yeah, let's see. So Bitcoin here on the weekly on the Binance chart, that was a BLX chart I was looking at before. Remember, it's 24 hours behind, and we seem to be coming back a little bit, 48k. So looks like resistance is well and truly in play at the moment. That's fine, but let's have a look at what's been happening here. So let me put on my indicators here. As you know, we have had these corrections here ever since we've been pushing up from here. We've had this correction here, which was 20%, about 20% on the way down, which took about 64 days. And again, 20% down, 64 days. But this one here, we haven't had a major correction. We did have a 20% pullback here, okay? But it was over a much shorter period of time. That was like, how long was it? Let's measure that. That was over only 2 weeks, 14 days. So while this one was a good 64 days, this one was just like 2 weeks. So it's hardly a correction. You can see it's not even registering on my indicator here. So where's the support levels if it pulls back? Because it could pull back. It could easily pull back. So let me back out my fibs. Swing high, swing low to swing high. And you can see 37k is well and truly in play. 37k, even down to the golden ratio at 33, is well and truly in play. Now, most people wouldn't believe that it could get that far down, but it blatantly could. And if I was to draw a horizontal line on these swings here, because we haven't back tested this, doesn't need to, but we've still got these resistance here, resistance there, resistance there. It hasn't come down and back tested that for support. We haven't even hit the 50%. As you can see, it was close to the 50%, but shot up. But it hasn't properly retested it, and it's been a while. So it's just a bit of a warning, really. It's not a bad place to take some profits. Definitely, if you've been buying way down here like I have, then you know you could consider taking profits or redistributing those profits, which is what I'm going to be doing into some altcoins. But I'd like to see them come down in their dollar value first. But we don't know if that's going to happen. We don't know if that's going to happen. But one thing I do know is that the greed is, in the fear and greed index, we're higher than ever. So it's something to be aware of. There's bearish RSI divergence on the weekly. And, you know, you can't trade totally on RSI divergence. But, you know, once you're coming up to major resistance up here, you know, 618, in addition to going up for so long, you kind of got to be careful. So just be careful out there, guys. What's the Bitcoin dominance saying? Bitcoin dominance getting some resistance. I had a trend line here, it seems. So hitting the trend line, broke down on the trend line. Broke down out of this trend line. Tried to grab it again. Rejected. And are we going to get a rejection here? We might do. We might get a rejection. So maybe altcoins might take it a little bit from Bitcoin. ETH BTC, what's ETH saying versus Bitcoin value? It still hasn't broken its long-term downtrend. This downtrend that's been in place since August 2022. It hasn't broken out of this. So yeah, you know, it's not a bad idea to move some Bitcoin into ETH. I don't think it's that bad here if you stagger in your bets. So maybe you might move some Bitcoin to ETH down here, and also on this monthly swing and on this trend line here. So maybe you can stagger in your trades here. But it hasn't broken out yet. So if you want to play it safe, play it safe. Wait until it breaks out, does a retest, and then maybe it pulls away. That will be your test there. I think there was a point I was looking at NEAR actually. NEAR was looking real good. Yeah, so NEAR on the daily was looking fairly good. Getting rejected at this trend line, but then finally broke out, and hopefully we come back down for a retest of this trend line here, and hopefully it holds. That would be nice. So maybe I'll put some trades down here if we ever get there, and that would be at approximately $2.09. Let me back up my fibs. Let's back up my fibs on this here. So maybe $3.55, 618 maybe would be a good idea to place it so it's closer to this trend line. Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. 618. Maybe I'll put an alarm on this. Actually, I'll probably put an alarm just to see what's going on here. What else is happening on these streets? Metis, it might be worth going into some Ethereum layer 2s, because I imagine Ethereum's going to take some spotlight eventually as they talk about the ETF potentially coming to Ethereum. Metis, it's been running up pretty good recently. I did already have a 50% on there. As you can see, it's already bounced. It's bounced on its 50%. Will it hold out? I don't know. If Bitcoin decides to take a dump right now, this will probably come back down. So therefore, I'd get my trend line up, and maybe rebid at least somewhere down here on the 618 or on this monthly swing here. So yeah, I will do a separate video on all the other altcoins, but NEAR was looking good. Neutron I've always wanted to get into, but I haven't managed to find a good spot for it. As you can see, 618, 50-50, and it seems to be doing some bits, but we'll see. And a few others I'll go into and why I think they are going up. I did put a long on VeChain actually. I've got to see how that's doing. We are coming down now, but I did put a long on VeChain over the weekend, so let's see how that's doing. But yeah, a bunch of good coins, altcoins. I'll be having a look at altcoins going forward. What altcoins to jump into? Either deploy more capital or move some of my my Bitcoin sold into some of these altcoins. But I'd like a really good red day for a long period of time, to be honest with you. Time's more important than price, they say, so that's what I'm gonna have to go on. And at the moment, we've got some resistance up here. Will Bitcoin hold on this line here, on this horizontal here, hold and consolidate up here and then make another go of it? That'll be nice. That'll be nice. But if not, then, you know, we look to our support levels. So 50%, our support level there. Where else is another resistance point if we break out? Another resistance point up here at 52k. We've got a upswing here, and pretty much not much else after that really. We've got one at 59, and then we've got all-time highs really. So wow, it's an amazing time to be in crypto. Really an amazing time to be in crypto right now. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. But yeah, that's about it. Have a good day, everyone.